Hey friends, welcome back to Dailey Sews Stuff. I'm Brandon Dailey, and today we are talking about programs. Computer programs, specifically the kind that you need for projecting patterns. Mostly this channel focuses on pattern projecting related topics, and this is one that I've covered pretty in depth. I have playlists for every program that I use when I project my pattern. However, I've never really made an overarching video that tells you when you need each program and why you need each program. So this video, I'm going to sit down at my computer, I'm going to show you a few graphics that I've made, and I'm going to take one pattern and walk you through the whole process from beginning to end of what I would do to make it ready to project. I will not be going into great detail about anything, but I will have tons of links in the description box and various little cards up here that you can click on to get more details about each particular program that I use. Let's begin by looking at this graphic I made that is kind of an overview of each of the softwares we use when we are pattern projecting. So in this top section, we have the necessary programs. You have to have a program that will read the PDF file and send it to the projector. Interrupting myself to say two things. The first thing is you don't actually send your pattern to the projector like I literally just said. You can think of the projector as a second screen for your device. And in doing so, your projector will view your pattern just the same as you are viewing it on your screen. You can have it as a second separate screen or a duplication of your screen. That's not important. But the important thing to remember is you're not sending the pattern to the projector. You are viewing the pattern with the projector, and it's therefore projecting it on to your fabric. The other thing is, this is a program that I did not mention in my original video because it is not on my graphic, because when I created my graphic, I did not know about it. It is an open source software. It is a work in progress, similar to PDF Stitcher, created by a projector sewist, but it is a program designed to let you view patterns on your computer and on your projector in a more specific way for projector sewing than the way we've made these other programs work for us. And you can see that there's things like you can invert color and mirror, and you can kind of put patterns together right here in the program, and you can rotate to wherever you want it to. It's also very helpful for a simpler calibration. You still have to make sure your image is square, but you don't have to mess with figuring out what zoom works. It will figure that out for you, which is pretty cool. So there are definite advantages to this program, but I need to learn a lot more about it and really dive into it before I'm ready to present it to everybody else, because it's hard to teach you about it when I don't know how to use it yet. But we typically use one of two programs, Zoto or Adobe Reader. Adobe Acrobat Reader DC is best whenever you're on a Windows or Mac computer. It has to be a full version of this computer. If it is a Chromebook, it will not work. This will allow you to use layers. It will allow you to use several of the helpful tools that we have found in Adobe to work for us. It will let you put an exact zoom percentage where you type it precisely and have a precisely sized pattern, which is exactly what we need. However, the mobile version of this, which is why Chromebook doesn't work, because that's basically a mobile version, does not work for our purposes. For that, we need Zoto, which is a PDF reader. It works on mobile devices, which includes Chromebooks, and it is a pinch to zoom situation here. So you're not going to get quite as precise with it, but it will definitely work for you. They are both free. They both allow you to calibrate and project your patterns. You can also use Affinity Designer, either on your computer or on an iPad. That is a paid program. I use Affinity Designer a ton. I haven't used it yet to project, and that was actually a video I was planning to record today and ended up doing something else instead. So soon I will do a video over projecting with Affinity Designer. But if you have already calibrated your projector and you know what you're doing, you probably can figure out how to project with Affinity Designer. And if not, video coming soon. Linux users, I was told, could use a program called Ocular. I do not have Linux. I have not tried this, but I have it on fairly good authority that it is a very helpful program. So if we move down in our hierarchy, we come to the highly recommended section. In this section, my two main favorites are the PDF Stitcher and then Sews Stuff. So PDF Stitcher is free. We know this program if you have watched my channel before. We love Charlotte Curtis, who is the brilliant mind behind this open source software. You can easily stitch your patterns together, add margins, make sure that your lines are solid and a good width and a great color for what you are doing. So many amazing things you can do with it that it just does in the blink of an eye that takes so much longer if you're going to do individually on Affinity Designer. One of the downsides to PDF Stitcher, though, is that it only works on Windows and Mac computers. And so if you are any of the mobile users or anybody else, you may not be able to use this. And in that particular case, you can use a program called Sejda instead to do a lot of those same things. Because Sejda is not really a program, it is a website. And so it is web-based, still free. It's just a little bit more involved than PDF Stitcher. And a good thing about Sejda is you can use it to unlock locked files so that you can then put them in Affinity Designer. Now, Inkscape doesn't care about locked files because it is also an open source software, and so there's no locks put there. But Affinity Designer, as a paid program, respects locks that designers might put on a file that are there to prevent theft, which is good. I don't want people stealing things from designers because I want them to continue to design because I like to buy their product. However, in order to use it to my benefit, I often need to do things that they didn't originally design you to be able to do, like adjust a pattern digitally. That's when we would use these completely optional programs like Inkscape or Affinity Designer. And so if you need to unlock a file, just know you can run it through that Sejda. You saw it a second ago. So Inkscape is free and it is open source. It doesn't work on every computer though. Not like it's not available for every computer. Just it doesn't always work well. It's kind of buggy sometimes. Affinity Designer is a paid program, but it is a one-time payment. It is not an ongoing subscription, and you can use it to do the pattern adjustments, pattern mashing, and pattern Tetris, and all those things. Both of them will do those things. There is a Facebook group to help with Affinity Designer. It's called Affinity Designer for Pattern Design and Alterations, and I will put that in the description box. For full disclosure, I'm a moderator there, but really we are just there to help each other learn how to use this program for the things that we specifically use it for. It's supposed to be used for graphic design, and we've just taken it to use it for our purposes. Adobe Illustrator also works in this whole world here. It is a vector program. However, it is a very expensive monthly subscription. So if you don't already have it for another reason, you probably don't want it. And then I am going to show you the flowchart to show how we kind of go through these patterns. I do have videos for all of these. You can look for those different playlists. And let me echo what I wrote here. Projectors for Sewing, the Facebook group community, really, really helped me get this graphic into its final form, and I really appreciate that. That was super helpful. So the flowchart that I mentioned is this one, and this is still not in its final form, I don't feel like, but I would like to walk you through it, and then we'll kind of take a pattern from the beginning to the end so we can see what I mean a little bit better. So we start over here at, the start. And this is also a little grainy, and I'm sorry. It's quite pixelated. Okay, so you start and you look at the pattern that you are wanting to project. Is it a multi-page pattern that needs to be stitched? And or do you need to add margins around the outside of it? For scrolling space, this is especially important with AO files that we are using to project. I have a video about that if you want to learn more. But AO files absolutely work for projecting. They just need a little modification sometimes. And or do you want to hide or delete some layers? It can be a pain to turn the layers off every single time when there's 20 layers and you only need one. So you can have PDF Stitcher automatically hide those for you or delete them for you. And or do you need to change the lines? Now this is not changing where the line is. This is changing the attribute of the line itself. Change the thickness, the color, or the type, by which I mean solid, dashed, etc. If the answer to any of these questions is yes, you are going to go run your pattern through PDF Stitcher. And I just want to say that it's pretty much just a default for me that the very first thing I'm going to do whenever I am opening a new pattern is run it through PDF Stitcher. Just plain and simple. There's always at least one of these things that I want to do, especially that bottom one. So you run it through PDF Stitcher. I've got a playlist that I will link in the description box and hopefully have up at the top here in a little card that will show you all the many cool things you can do with PDF Stitcher and how to work with it. If your answer here was no, or once you've done PDF Stitcher, then you need to move on. If it needs to be unlocked, there are pattern companies that keep you from using comment tools, including the highlight tool in Adobe, which can be such a pain. I really, really like using the highlight to keep track of which size I'm planning to make. And I really like using the comment tools to make marks for a lot of things. And you can also see all the things that I do in Adobe in my Adobe playlist. And so there are some patterns that keep you from doing any of those things. Sometimes patterns are so locked down, this is beyond safeguarding the pattern from theft, and it becomes too frustrating to use. And a lot of times I quit using those pattern companies, but if I already have a pattern by them, I want to make sure I can use it. So if I need to unlock it to do that, I'll run it through Sejda.com. Literally, all you have to do is open it in there and save it on your computer again, and it will be unlocked. And so then at that point, if you just needed to do that so you could use the comment tools, etc., cool, done. You can just go ahead and open it in Adobe and do any simple or on-the-fly adjustments there in Adobe. So I show you how to use the comment tools to grade a pattern. I show you how to do many things with Adobe that are really simple to use in this playlist right here that I will link in the description box. If you don't want to make any adjustments at all, or if you're just doing adjustments on the fly, you can also just go straight to Adobe to project. If, however, you need to make complex adjustments, if you're doing some sort of pattern matching, if you're doing an FBA, if you are, really going to do a lot of grading and really want to get it a little more precise, for all those things, you can open it in a vector program like Inkscape or Affinity Designer. And so there is an Affinity Designer playlist listed in the description box. And once you're done, you can either project straight from your vector program, or you can export it to be projected from Adobe or Zoto or whatever. So if you project straight from the vector program, you can watch the Affinity Designer playlist still for that. And as I said, there will be more videos on this coming soon, especially related to mobile use. And if you want to export it as a PDF, which is generally what I choose, even though I could just do it straight from Affinity Designer, I generally prefer to export it. I'm so much more familiar with Adobe and projecting from there. It's a much simpler interface, which makes it easier to use when you can't really see super well. So I typically just export it. So I export as a PDF and use Adobe to project. And again, there's a playlist for that. I have gone into extreme detail with all of these programs in various other videos, so I don't want to really do that here. But what I do want to do is just kind of walk one pattern through the entire process. I'm going to choose this free pattern that's really simple and easy called Petite Pegs from Patterns for Pirates. They actually recently went through and re-released every single pattern they have with a projector file. So yay, that's amazing. I haven't actually gone through and downloaded all of those new patterns or newly formatted patterns. So this actually does have a projector file now, and it is a free pattern. So if you want it, go get it for free rather than stealing it somehow from this video. But it's a really good pattern to use for this video because it is in a letter format here, so I can kind of show all the way through the steps. It's only 4 pages though, so it's super simple. So I say I want to do this pattern and I see that it needs to be stitched, and so the first thing I do is go open it in PDF Stitcher. And so I'm going to open, I know I want the petite pegs. I'm just going to search for it. So I don't remember if I have it in kids or in girls. And as you can see, I've done this before, but we're testing. So we open it here. We're going to save it as something else. I usually use stitched, but I've already used it there. So stitched for video. All right. Now it is 13 pages, but if we go back over here, we can see it's only the last 4 that are a pattern. And Patterns for Pirates does not have an actual layout, but we can use these letters to help us figure it out. So it goes A1, A2. So it'll be A2, and that's the end. So it's going to be 2 this way and 2 this way because it's only 4 pages. This starts on page right here. That's page 10, 10, 11, 12, 13. That makes sense. Okay, so from page 10, I go into this in more detail in other videos, like I said. So if you are totally lost right now, go watch other videos. I'm going to give myself a margin. We're going to tell it that there are 2 columns. It will automatically know that means how many rows there are. All the rest of this I'm going to leave. This is, if I remember right, this is like 0.5. I am going to decide that all I need is the, let's see, I'm going to deselect all. I only need the 12-month size. And then I go ahead and have all sizes and layer 1 there because that will have information that I'll need. And so it's going to delete the ones that are deselected. I can also choose hide there. I don't want to change the line color, but I do want to change the line thickness. I want it to be 6 and I want it to be solid. And I want to apply that to all the checked guys. And then I'm going to generate it and it's going to save it for me. And it saves it successfully. So then I can go open that up. Okay, so here it is opened up in Adobe. As you can see, I did not guess correctly. These are not lined up perfectly. And the margin is this space from this line out to here. And so we want that so that we can more easily move this around the screen. Because you see, like, I can't move it side to side right now. I can only move it up and down because of the scrolling space that I have. Not a huge deal here on the computer, but on the projector, we want to be able to move in all directions. And so it gives us the ability to do that. When you zoom in a little bit more, you can see. You can actually move it in all the directions. Okay, so if I was ready to go, I could just go here and project and go away. But if I want to do it in Affinity Designer, I will right-click it and open with Affinity Designer. Then I can do some more adjusting. So if I want to be like, hey, I need to move this a little bit so that it fits together better, I can do that. And with a pattern that's only this many pages, it's really simple to do that here. But when it is a pattern that is a lot bigger, then it's not simple to do that here. And that's why you have PDF Stitcher do it for you correctly to begin with. It's just my guess was wrong and I didn't go back and fix it. Okay, so that's what the pattern would look like. Now I could go through and just like individually do things like delete this line. Oops, that's not it. I haven't ungrouped enough yet. But keep ungrouping until you get to the point where you can just delete this line. You can do things like say, you know what, this kiddo wears like ginormous cloth diapers, and so I just want to make sure that we have enough space there for the booty. And so make an adjustment like that. You can do whatever it is that you think you need to do to have this ready. You can say, oh, I do not want to miss and cut on the wrong line. I'm just going to make sure that I delete these lines that I don't. Oops. Well, you have to break this. But make sure that I delete these lines that I don't need so that I can make sure that I am only doing, only looking at the things I want to look at. So many things you can do here in Affinity Designer to make this just perfect for projecting. You would export it to PDF and open it back up in Adobe to project, which again, you can go watch my Affinity Designer videos about all those details if that's what you're looking to do. So that's how I walk a pattern through the programs to make sure that I have done all the things that I need to do with a pattern and am able to really optimize it for my own use of projecting. Thanks friends for watching. I hope this helps you. I hope you are better able to know when to use what program now. I hope that if you are a beginner, this helps keep you from being so shell-shocked whenever we talk in the Projected for Sewing group about different programs that we use. Remember that some of us have been doing this for 3+ years. So we might be doing things that you're not ready to do yet, and that's okay. If all you ever use is Adobe Reader, cool. If you are using it and you are loving it and it is doing what you need it to do, there is no reason that you have to be using all these other programs. But if you want to get more in depth and learn how to use these other programs, especially PDF Stitcher, I highly recommend that one, then as I said before, there'll be videos in the description box and links to all the things that will help you get started with those programs. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. All those things really help this channel out. Thank you. Bye.
Keep watching my videos, like, subscribe, and comment.